All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Captain Cody Davis here with you guys again for another one. Taking shelter inside the house for this one because it is entirely too wet outside to try and film this out there. I intended on filming these right alongside the pond, but it's not going to stop raining for like the next 8 days or so. We haven't had rain in 3 months, and now we're just going to have a week straight of rain, which I'm not a fan of because that means Lake Okeechobee is going to continue to rise each and every day. But our lawns and trees and all the crops around here needed it. And if it was going to pick a week where it was going to torrentially downpour all week, in my case, this is the best case scenario because I won't be on the water really for the next 5 or 6 days, because a lot of you that follow me on social media or have recently booked trips with me know me and Breezy just got home with our second born. We just got home with Braden. He was born 5 days ago, 4 days ago. It's all been kind of a blur. So we just got home from the hospital yesterday, day before. I don't know. All my days are running together. Anyway, we have a newborn in the house. We are super excited. So now I am the proud father of 2 boys. Hopefully going to be some bass fishing studs, hopefully, if everything goes correctly. So super excited. Just been getting everything, kind of getting reused to having a newborn in the house. Trying to remember everything I forgot from 2 years ago from when Lake was born. But super excited about it. So obviously I took a little bit of time off to be with my wife and be with the family, and just we have visitors coming all the time. So while the 2 little guys are taking a nap, I figured this would be a good time to shoot a little bit of content and get caught up so I can keep some stuff coming to you guys. So what I'm going to talk about to you guys in this video was, most of you watched my previous video, maybe it was 2 videos ago, where I went over and visited Alex, Jenna, Sam, all them over there at Senko Stick, showed you guys their operation, kind of, you know, how they do what they do. And I got a lot of positive feedback on it. It was awesome. But what I forgot to show you guys was show you what rods that I picked up while I was there. I think I picked up 5 in total that day. But here's the deal. I didn't get to go out and fish with all of them and try them out, simply because I got home and, you know, we were at the hospital 3 days later. So I had like 2 days of work after going and filming that video. So I only got to play with a couple of rods, and really just want to talk to you guys about them, why I picked the rod styles and actions I did, and just talk to you guys about them and kind of, I don't know, highlight them for you guys, I guess. So this video is going to be on one, and then we're going to, the next video following this one will be on another rod, and then you guys are just going to have to wait till I get to go fishing and get to actually put my other ones to the test that I haven't been able to use yet. So what I'm holding here, this is probably the one that I was most excited about. And this is a 611 medium heavy fast action rod. Essentially, Alex really designed this blank and what have you to throw a big Zara spook on. There's a lot of you that have been following my channel for a long time, or a lot of you that are just watching this that have been fishing against me and taking my money for years. Everyone knows a big Zara spook style bait, such as like what you're seeing here, just a big walking bait at all, is a staple down here, really in all of Florida, but especially on Lake Okeechobee. Whether it's a big super spook like this, whether it's a Reaction Innovations Vixen, I think Strike King makes one called a Mega Dog. Like a bunch of different companies make one. Yozuri makes a big hydro pencil, whatever it's called, 3D pencil. Either way, if you're going to be throwing a big walking bait out here on Okeechobee, you kind of need like a very specialized rod. And the reason is, most throughout the country, when you're throwing a bait like this super spook, maybe you're throwing it over open water, you're throwing it to schooling fish around boat docks, along seawalls, what have you. Very rarely you're in a location in the country where you're throwing it through Kissimmee grass, down boat trails, alongside cattail heads, you know, into small pockets in the Kissimmee grass where you're essentially fishing around really heavy cover. So when you're throwing a treble hooked bait like the big spook, you need a shorter rod with a softer tip to be able to enable you to walk that bait violently, get sharp, you know, movements out of the bait, not be fatigued. But then you need a rod that's going to give and have a good parabolic bend when hooking the fish, because that's what's going to enable you to keep those hooks pinned into that fish. But here on Okeechobee, you also need a rod that has enough backbone to pull that fish and move that fish in the direction you need them to move so they don't get you into the cattail heads, the buggies, I would say the hydrilla, like when we used to have it. So I'm relatively new to throwing a spook. I picked it up probably 2.5, 3 years ago and really started to learn the bait, and I really fell in love with it. But it really took me, a couple of years to dial in what I was looking for in a rod. And Alex basically told me, dude, try this one, you'll like it. And he was not wrong. This thing is perfect. It does everything you want it to do. The balance, the action of the rod is perfect. It does essentially everything I just mentioned you're looking for when throwing a big bait like this. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you is if you're not throwing a bait the size of the Super Spook, okay, so I don't even know, what is this, a 5-inch bait? If you're throwing a Spook Junior, maybe a prop bait like a Devil's Horse, even a small popper, this is not the rod at least for me, that I would choose to throw a bait like that. It almost has a little bit too much backbone to it. It's almost a little bit too heavy of an action of rod for that. You're probably going to want to look at like a medium action rod or a 6.6 or something along those lines. But for a bigger style popper, like a big popping bait, maybe a medium to large size whopper plopper style bait, this rod will do it. And here's the coolest thing. When you want the rod to have a good bend, a lot of times it's hard to find that happy medium where it's got enough give and enough of a parabolic bend to keep the fish pinned, kind of load up on the fish to make sure he gets the bait, keep the hooks pinned into that fish, but not too whippy that where you try to throw this, I say it's a big plug. It's really not that big, but to throw a plug this size that it doesn't overload the rod, and then you run into a lot of backlashing issues. This thing loads perfect. It'll legit throw this bait 100 yards if you want to. It's unreal. And then it's just got the perfect amount of tip on here. Not sure if you guys can really see it, but it's just got that nice soft tip, and that's all you really need when working, that bait. So it's just short, effortless little twitches of the wrist, and that bait's going to walk side to side perfect. And then once you actually get tight on the fish, it's just a nice, heavy pull, and the whole rod just completely loads up about 3/4 of the way down, which again, you don't want anything too stiff. You want it to give so you're not pulling hooks out of the fish, but you also want it to where if you really need to put the heat on the fish, you're going to be able to turn his head and get him the direction you want. Now, I know a lot of people are saying you could just throw it on monofilament to put some stretch in there, but making long casts and getting a good hookup ratio at a long distance, as well as just getting the bait to respond to your twitches at a long cast as well, braid is your best friend. I've got this on 40-pound, I don't even know what type of braid this is, and a high-speed reel. And you could pretty much spool this reel on a long cast with this rod. It loads the bait great. It's super comfortable to fish with. You don't get fatigued. It's perfectly balanced. Like as you guys saw in the video, Alex takes the time to make sure that this rod's going to come out as balanced as possible. And that makes a big difference with a few different, techniques, applications while out, on the water. One being flipping for sure. But this one even maybe more so because you're constantly working that rod and, it's going to fatigue your wrist. So having a balanced setup like this is great. But so that's what I would recommend this for, is obviously if I get a lot of people that ask me what I throw my spook on, this is going to be it from here on out. It's a 6'11", medium, heavy, fast. This is in the BTO series. Again, a whopper plopper style bait, a bigger popper. I could see myself throwing even a spinnerbait on this. Any of my guys that like throwing a spinnerbait, maybe around docks, seawalls, or just trying to make accurate casts with a small spinnerbait or just a full-size spinnerbait or even a buzzbait. This would be a perfect rod for that as well. So it is relatively versatile. Heck, if you were throwing like a Poppin' Frog Junior, like a small one, this rod would absolutely do it as well. So it is a very versatile rod, but it came out perfect for what I purchased it for, which is to throw a big spook. And yeah, so again, that is the 6'11", medium, heavy, fast. It's the 1/8 to 3/4 ounce rod. It's rated at 10 to 20 in the BTO line. So check that one out. And that was the one I was most excited about getting my hands on. I've never had a high-end spook rod before. And it definitely makes a difference. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know what you think. And look forward to the next following video, we'll be talking about what rod I purchased for throwing a swim jig on, one of my other favorites. So see you guys on the next one. Remember, if you guys go to sankosticks.com, you can use the code TIGHTSPLICE at checkout, and it'll save you some money. So definitely give them a shot. Couldn't be happier with the way these things turned out. And yeah, so I appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next one.